What's up guys, Chris here, bringing you a small little champion preview of the brand new champion Zed, the Master of Shadows. This champion was released onto the PBE a couple of hours ago. I'm just going to give you a small little preview of what his abilities do in-game, what he looks like, and just my overall opinions on him so far. It's going to be quick and to the point, so let's get started. Starting off with Zed's Q, we have Razor Shuriken. This is a shuriken similar to Kinnon's, but instead of stopping once it hits a target, you can actually throw it in a line and does damage to all the enemies that it hits. I believe it's 70% damage once it hits that first target, so it has diminished returns a little bit, but it's still a great farming tool. His W is called Living Shadow. He creates a shadow of himself, which he can then use his abilities with. His shadow will then mimic those abilities, sending him out twice. He can then press that W again to transfer over to his shadow, which allows him to create some pretty awesome looking jukes. His E ability is called Shadow Slash, which does damage around him, similar to both Akali's E and Darius's Q. This does slow enemies that it hits. You can actually time it up with your Living Shadow to have like a range slow ability. So you send out your shadow ahead of you where your target is running and you can slow them then with your E. Really cool. Adds another little thing to his kits, which is pretty fun overall from what I've experienced so far. His ultimate is called Death Mark, which you charge at the enemy, and once you arrive at the enemy, you put a time bomb type thing on the enemy for like 3 seconds, and then it explodes, dealing damage equivalent to the damage you already dealt on the target. So you probably want to use this early on so you can build up that damage stack and then have it explode on the enemy to either finish it or drop the enemy really low. Once you use your ultimates, you leave a Living Shadow behind, so you can actually have additional burst on top of it, so it pretty much grants you another Living Shadow. So if you use your Living Shadow at first, dealing your damage with your Q and your E, you can then use your ultimate and use the same Q and the E with the Living Shadow again for additional burst, which is insane. His E actually reduces, once you actually hit targets with it, will reduce the cooldown on the Living Shadow, so the more times you press it while fighting, the chances are you'll have another Living Shadow up when you'll need it. So overall, Zed's kit is pretty solid. I don't know where he's going to fit in for the current meta, but he might have a spot in Season 3 once Riot does what they say they're going to do to accommodate the melee assassins. He might have a spot in the jungle, but this is all up in the air until he actually goes live, and I am by no means a professional player, so I don't really know exactly what I'm talking about. He might have a spot in the top lane as well, but this is just all what I think. My opinion, I think he's going to be a great farmer. I think he can harass with the best of them, but we will find out when he goes live. Until then, hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys later.